Hi there, and welcome back to the Getting Started video series, where we run through some of the top tasks you should carry out in the first couple of weeks using the technology. This video covers how to understand the elements that count towards the load time and speed of a web page, as well as how to fix any issues that are slowing down a URL. As you may know, Google now places a greater importance on page speed and page experience, factoring these scores in when it comes to ranking URL in the search results. In short, pages that load faster are deemed to offer a better experience, simply because the user can interact with them quicker, making it a fundamental area to get right. To get started, just head over to the technical module and click on Page Experience. From here you need to enter a URL into this first field and click Analyze in order to get a real-time page experience report. Any URL can be queried from the home page right down to a very specific path within a website. You can also bulk upload URLs in order to analyze multiple pages in one go. As you can see, once the report is finished, several scores are returned. These are referred to as Core Web Vitals, or CWV metrics for short, and represent how long, in seconds, it took various actions to complete on the page. These are summarized at the bottom of the report and are as follows. Score, which is an indicator of overall speed performance. Speed Index, which shows how quickly the contents, such as the images and text of a page, are visible. FCP, which means first contentful paint, is the time taken for the very first element on the web page to be loaded in. LCP, which means largest contentful paint, is how long it took the largest element to be loaded in. TTI, which means time to interaction, shows the amount of time it took the page to become fully interactive for the user. TBT, which means total blocking time, is the time between the FCP and the TTI, i.e., how long it takes from the end of the first element loading in to the end of the last element loading in, and the page becoming responsive to clicks, screen taps, or keyboard presses. FID, which means first input delay, checks the responsiveness and measures the amount of time between the input of a user, such as a mouse click, and when the action actually takes place, i.e. the button responds to the click. And finally CLS, which means cumulative layout shift. This shows if there are any large bursts in layout shift as elements of a page load in. You have likely used websites in the past where a block of text you are reading suddenly shifts down as a banner or embedded video loads in. This would be an example of poorly optimized CLS. Back at the top of the report is a more detailed dashboard view. Each CWV metric is represented by its own speedometer style widget, which shows the current speed and how this measured up against the threshold scores that Google state. Green is obviously good, yellow warns that improvement is needed, and red represents a poor score where more serious work is typically required to resolve. But how do you know what work is required to fix a poor score? To answer that, just scroll back down to the bottom of this report where we saw the summarized metrics. Clicking on the three dots in the far right will allow us to get a much more detailed analysis as well as a thorough breakdown. Within this single page is a complete drill down of all the Core Web Vitals, including some handy definitions for each score, opportunities that you can implement to help a web page load faster, as well as diagnostics that can also be investigated to improve performance. Typically speaking, the suggestions made here will be handled by a front-end developer or other code-savvy team member, but this report gives you an accurate steer on the direction that you need to head in. Once you have made any changes, you can run a fresh report back in the Page Experience module. Just click on this refresh icon. Clicking here on the eye will take you through to the dashboard view we saw a few moments ago, but notice that the speedometers have now become line graphs, showing how CWV metrics have moved. This gives great insight into whether the changes you implemented were successful in shaving off some load time. Reports can be run on the fly, and there is no limit in place on the number that you can run. We'd recommend running Page Experience at least once on all core pages to identify any fundamental areas that need looking at. And that's it. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series for more tips on getting meaningful SEO insights. See you!